What's going on YouTube? JT Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition to my Godzilla and Marvel comic book reviews. And in this video, we're going to talk about Godzilla versus X-Men. That's right, the long-awaited issue between Godzilla and arguably Marvel's most popular team. I don't know, it's kind of between this and the Avengers. I feel like the Avengers have gained more popularity since the movies, but for me, it was always kind of like the X-Men was probably Marvel's most popular team. Fantastic Four would probably be third. I don't know. What do you all think? X-Men or Avengers? Who's more popular? I mean, I know we got the movies to factor in, but I'm just talking like all time. So, yeah. So this one, it's another part of the Godzilla versus the Marvel Universe stuff. Next up with this is Godzilla versus the Avengers, which comes out next month, and I think that might be the final issue of it, maybe, because we had Fantastic Four, we had Hulk, we had Spider-Man, we have X-Men, we have Avengers, and then I think there's maybe one more after that. I'd have to kind of check to take a look, but we're pretty much getting closer to the end of this thing. And these have been more so like standalone type stories. This one in particular doesn't really have any direct references to some of the other ones. Now, the Spider-Man one, I think the Hulk one actually referenced like the Fantastic Four stuff, maybe. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I don't know, but let's go ahead and get into the storyline this time. So we open up in Japan where this character, Shiro, who I'm not all that familiar in, there's like a million X-Men, so it's hard to keep track of all of them, is there combating Godzilla, who seems to attack this one company and their stuff. Very reminiscent of the plot of Godzilla versus Kong, where Godzilla was going after the various Apex facilities as they were building Mechagodzilla, and I legit thought that's the direction that they were going with in this thing, that this company was going to build Mechagodzilla. But as we come to find out, it's not quite Mechagodzilla. It's something kind of unique and original. So, and another thing that this issue does differently than the other ones is it doesn't necessarily like upgrade Godzilla. Whereas we had Hulk Godzilla, we had Symbiote Godzilla, we had Power Cosmic Godzilla. This one is more so just Godzilla being Godzilla, and his design is very reminiscent of the Heisei era, so that's kind of cool. So, with all this stuff going on in Japan, this company enlists the help of the X-Men, who, you know, we have characters like Storm, Beast, who is it, Jean Grey, Wolverine, Cyclops, Charles Xavier. I feel like the one who gets, and, you know, you have Gambit and all that too, so just kind of the core, like, main, like, X-Men, but Charles Xavier gets kind of the most to do. Wolverine doesn't really have much to say. Same thing with Storm and kind of Beast. Gambit's there, he kind of takes this suit right here, which is the Super Adaptoid, which is going to use kind of adapt various powers to kind of use that against Godzilla at some point. So as this company is here, Godzilla shows up to kind of once again destroy things. This is, again, very reminiscent of Godzilla versus Kong, where he's attacking the Apex facilities. And we get this big, huge kaiju-sized battle with this character with the various powers infused of the X-Men. And it is an initial struggle for them, but then another threat kind of comes in, and this is what they were building. So goes in a different direction than I expected. Like I said, I expected Mechagodzilla, but this is kind of a unique one. So this is a Sentinel Mecha Kaiju. Try saying that 5 times fast. Fused with some elements of Biollante, Batra, and Fire Rodan. It looks almost like a Megazord, or like one of the Zords from Power Rangers kind of fused together to face off against it. So, which Godzilla has fought against the Power Rangers, so that's kind of cool there too. So, and eventually, like I said, they do get a team up, and they're able to kind of stop things. And with Charles Xavier, you know, he has the psychic ability to kind of read minds and kind of communicate that way. With Godzilla, it's not direct communication, it's more so he feels the emotions, like you just feeling kind of rage and all that too. Although we've had instances where Godzilla has been able to communicate psychically with, well, psychics. You had Mickey Saigusa, you had the Mothra fairies, or even in GXK, you had him kind of understanding like what Gia was doing with her telepathic communications with that and Mothra and all that too. Or even in what was that Godzilla IDW comic book that I reviewed, where it was like with the kid named Cedric and all that too. Yeah, it was the kid focused one. I just I'm gonna forget it. I'm forgetting it off the top of my head, but he did that in that series as well. All Hail the King. I think it was Monsters and Protectors. That was a series where they had the communications like psychically between Godzilla and the kid. So through Mothra at least. So maybe you need to kind of like have a buffer and communicate through to another kaiju to then communicate with Godzilla. That's how you do it. So I don't know, but that's basically what was happening. We also learned that the CEO had kind of a vengeance for him, and they tie it all the way back into Godzilla Raids Again with the whole Anguirus thing from 1955, and that's kind of what enabled him to want to build this thing. And they do tie into Godzilla like to the themes of X-Men and the mutants, and with this really good line from Charles Xavier where he talks about if there's anything mutants can relate to, it's like the loneliness of protecting a world that fears and hates us. So with connecting Godzilla to like this monster, they kind of view the CEO as like the real monster of the thing. But you know, to be fair, like he did lose his father, and you know, these kaiju can be like a legit threat to all the things going on. But you know, Godzilla wasn't directly trying to go after his father. It was more so stopping Anguirus and the collateral damage that ensued, and why this guy's had such a vendetta against the character. Now, we've seen this kind of done before in like several Godzilla movies where a character has a direct like vendetta due to the fallout. I mean, King of the Monsters had that with Mark Russell. You had stuff with UNCANNY and, you know, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, and several other like films over the years and comic books and all that too. So it's not a thing exactly new, but like that anger and hate was kind of like built towards, you know, what was happening with Godzilla. And GVK had that too with Walter Simmons and all that. So, but using Charles Xavier stuff, like he's kind of able to kind of push Godzilla to kind of go away, and thus the day is saved for now at least. So we'll see what happens next with Godzilla in the comic books, because I know it says that next up he's going to go up against the Avengers, which I am looking forward to. So I like all the variants here too. I think they look pretty cool within this thing. And you know, I don't think I mentioned who wrote this comic book, so let me go ahead and scroll back over here. So this one was written by Fabian Nicieza, and then Emilio Lazo is the artist. Now the artwork here is pretty good. I think the X-Men are all drawn pretty well. I like some of the shots here with Gambit, like the way Godzilla is designed here, very reminiscent of the Heisei era. We get some cool looking images here. We have Godzilla facing off against his other opponent here with the various X-Men abilities. Then we have kind of this crazy mecha unique thing going on here too. So this is a pretty fun one. Like I said, if you like the X-Men, chances are you'll probably enjoy this one. Because like I said, Charles Xavier doesn't want to outright just destroy this thing. He wants to kind of understand it, like why is it acting this way, if he can kind of find another means to kind of stop this conflict, because like he doesn't want to attack something he understands. So yeah, Charles Xavier gets a pretty good showing in this issue too. So Wolverine doesn't really have much to do. Same thing with most of the X-Men at this thing. Is mostly like Shiro kind of gets most of the stuff, and it's mostly him and like Charles Xavier, a little bit of Beast in that too. But some of the other ones don't get too much to do. But again, there's like 1,000 X-Men characters over the course of the series with the whole mutants thing. And you know, that's kind of weird too. I always wondered that about X-Men. Like, why is it that just the mutants get kind of like the flack of things, but characters like Spider-Man and Avengers don't always? I don't know. Like, I feel like that's just kind of something I'm just like, why is it just them more so than these others? But within universe, you're like, you know, there's all this anti-mutant agenda and all that too. And I get what it's, you know, substituting for, hatred, bigotry, all that other stuff. But I was just kind of wondering, like, why more so the X-Men than other characters. So, but hey, that's just me. But anyways, I thought this one was pretty solid. Not my favorite of the bunch, but I still think it is pretty good overall. So, and like I said, I like tying in Godzilla to like that final line that Charles Xavier said about connecting monsters to mutants, where the whole world kind of fears them, but they still have kind of a job to do of sorts. So I thought that was kind of cool. So, but anyways, that's all I have to say about this particular issue. What did you all think of it? Post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit that bell for notifications, all that other fun stuff. I got one more Godzilla book to catch up from last week, and then should be all set. So as always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.